Okay, well, it's very, very important because our goal, as you know, is to be the greatest retail bank. And one of the things that we are looking at for us to know if we have achieved that goal is to be able to exponentially grow our customer base, right? The number of people who patronize us. And the easy way to do that, but very, very inefficient, is just to throw a ton of money on making marketing and advertising, giving promotions, to cast a very wide net in the hopes of getting these interested customers in our base, right? And that's essentially what many of our competitors do. But that's very inefficient. And why is that inefficient? Because we are not targeting the mass market, right? So it could be effective if you're targeting the mass market, which is the general population. But for UnionBank, we are very focused on really attracting a particular segment, which we call the emerging affluent. And for us to be able to do that, we need to be equipped with the right tools and the right strategies to make sure that we only source customers from those, because those are the customers we have defined will add value to our aspirations. So that's why the only way to do that is to be super data-driven, because we need to understand where they are, what they do, how they behave, so for us to be able to create the right content and the right offers to attract them and be part of the base that we are aspiring towards our goal of becoming the greatest retail bank. Definitely, because UnionBank is a known digital bank, right? A digitally transformed bank, and part of our digital transformation efforts is obviously making sure that we do the best that we can with the data that we get from these digital platforms. So I've already seen that behavior in UnionBank in general, and we are able to, first we have a data science group headed by David Hardoon, and in partnership with them, many of the different business units have already started maximizing and utilizing all of the tools available, as well as the models that they generate based on the data that we get. So yes, we have begun, and I think are practicing being data-driven. Many opportunities still to improve, definitely. But like data, it should continue to iterate, right? And continue to evolve. And similarly, the way we look at data, the way we practice analyzing data should continuously improve as well. Okay, and I'll give you examples, particularly for what we do in marketing, because everything that we do, I say now, everything is really data-driven. So from creating the offers that you see, creating the marketing content, we use all of these data. We use a combination of both external and internal data, and harmonize this and analyze these different sources of data to make sure that our advertising and content and digital content are insight-driven. What do I mean by insight-driven? That they are based on current consumer behavior, usage, and attitudes and perceptions. And then that allows us now to create communication materials, to refine product offerings and value propositions. And also, in marketing, it's a very strong tool for us to refine our media buying. A huge percentage of our marketing investment is in media when we buy placements, in Facebook, in Instagram, and even in broad advertising. And for us to efficiently do that, and to make sure that our cost per acquisition is maintained or even lowered, we have to continually refine our analysis of the behavior of consumers in these channels. And the only way to do that is really with data. So we have really benefited a lot from analyzing, staying close to the data. We've driven down our cost per acquisition over time, and we've also been more efficient in targeting. We now know what channels are more effective and what are not, and which channels are effective for which segment. The buzzword now is AI, right? And you probably hear that many people are still afraid of AI or being very, very cautious. I think that's normal, but the way I see, these emerging technologies in relation to the way we consume, analyze, and use data, particularly AI, for example, is that like any other tool, for it to be beneficial or harmful will depend on how you use it, right? And you will use it better if you understand it. So I think right now I would say we're still in the infancy stage of trying to understand AI more completely. We should all be plugged into that effort of understanding, immersing ourselves with what AI can and cannot do, what its current strengths are and what the limitations are, so that we can use it properly. For me, I think if we use AI properly, it's really a game changer, because AI is so necessary for us to be able to achieve our goal of hyper-personalizing our experiences, both in product, content, and also at the same time the user interface of our platforms, right? Because these will all be driven by what the artificial intelligence data and models tell us, and become more predictive and proactive in our innovation and development in the future. So I think for that, you will find the contribution of being data-centric into three areas. One is customer centricity. So if you're a data-driven organization, I think by default you will be customer-centric, because you will always look outward. You will always try to understand what's happening that's influencing the performance of your business. So that's the first. You will become also naturally a customer-centric organization. The second is you will become operationally more efficient, because the data that you will see allows you to identify certain areas where you can be more efficient. You can be, you can cut costs, and you can transfer this cost to another area for a better outcome. So you'll be operationally more efficient. The third area is churning out innovation. Because of the data-driven culture, I think our pace in churning out innovative products, innovative experiences for our customers will also be much faster, because the culture or the behavior of people already makes it very natural for us, again, going back to the first point, to look outward, to see what's happening, to be more plugged into what the latest trends are and how these trends can become relevant in our organization and our business. I don't see a big resistance, because I mentioned earlier that as an organization, I already see that UnionBank, as part of its digital transformation, initiatives and continuing efforts to evolve as a digitally transformed company, we're really already somewhat very data-driven. The opportunity areas that I see would be, I guess, in two areas. First is because we're getting a ton of data, a huge volume of data every day. The big challenge there is now determining the right processes, determining the right tools to make sure that the quality of the data that we ingest are really usable. It's really usable. No? So that's first. And I think that continuously evolves, also depending on the technologies that are available in AI. The second is spending or allocating real time for analyzing this data, because the trap can be you have very good data but nobody uses them. So you hear this a lot. We have a ton of data, but who uses the data, etc. So we have to deliberately set aside some time to analyze the data, to make sure that what we know is still relevant, still updated, and usable for our aspirations. Because sometimes the data will also tell you maybe your goal needs to be adjusted already. So that's the value in spending a little bit of time. What I've also noticed is that there is a tendency to delegate analysis of data to more junior people in the company. But I believe data can benefit from the eyes of experience. So when you analyze data, of course, you analyze at a very basic level of doing different cuts, doing different types of scenarios, but there is no substitute, and this is where the human element comes in. for viewing the data with the eyes of experience. And that's why I think being data-driven cuts across the organization. It's not reserved for or overly driven towards the more junior parts of the organization, but I think it has to be all throughout, because in the different levels of the org, data also is analyzed in very different ways, and that the layer of analysis that goes on the data gives you the quality of strategies and plans as an organization. There is a wrong perception, I think, that data only means numbers, only means binary, the zeros and the ones and all the numbers that you ingest, all the information, etc. But we have to keep in mind that data also can be qualitative data. So you have both qualitative, quantitative data. And the qualitative data needs to complement your quantitative to make sense, to derive the insights, because just by looking at the numbers, everybody will see the numbers uniformly. And this is where the eyes of experience comes in for me. So when you look at it and then you couple it with the qualitative information that you hear from research, that you see from observation, that you personally experience yourself, you layer this on top of the quantitative data that you have, then you formulate a story, a narrative. And that narrative becomes, for me, a game-changing tool for a company's strategies to be more pointed, more relevant, more hardworking. Diba? Kasi sometimes, if you just look at the numbers, your competitors will see the same research. But the difference is the insight you derive from the research. They can be very different. And to me, that is the added value of the human part of the analysis. Is that the AI, again, because ChatGPT is everywhere, anyone can type it, they will give you the same answer as the other guy, because it's the same ChatGPT doing it, right? And if you type in the same question, you will get probably the same answer. But if you yourself bother to really look at it and connect the dots of the different points of data that you're getting, I think the quality of your strategy and your conclusions will be very, very different and can be a competitive advantage. For me, I'll go back to our goal. So our goal is to be the greatest retail bank. And I think this goal can really only be achieved if we are data-driven. Why is that? Because part of this goal is making sure we continuously offer the best product and experiences to our customers, ultimately for them to prefer us over our competitors. And the preference is created by making the full use of data.